Hey, everybody. You're all automatically muted. Feel free to unmute yourselves if you'd like.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Jenny, how are you?
Not too bad. How are you guys?
We're doing well.
Oh,
And we only have about 8 people on right now, so I'm going to give it a couple minutes. We had a lot more register, so it's 6 on the dot. So I'm going to give it a couple minutes while everyone signs in. And Mary's eating dinner or dessert.
and I just got out of the shower. This is my Bob Baffert look
That's nice. You just need the blue sunglasses.
in my bathrobe. Mm-hmm.
I just got in from riding, so like
Oh, nice.
had a helmet on, sorry. Finally nice weather.
Oh, good. And do you have cats in attendance with you tonight, Vanessa?
They're somewhere. They'll find
But-
their way here.
They're just
soon
not
as
there
they-
yet.
Right. As soon as they know there's a meeting, they're like, I'm gonna come investigate. They show up at book club almost every time.
Jenny.
It looks nice out where Jenny is.
Yeah, we're down here on vacation. We're down in Sanibel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Sanibel.
All righty. Who else? We've got Carolyn and Amy signing in. All righty. And everyone's keeping themselves muted
Hello.
pretty much. Oh, we've got a hello. Hey, Carolyn, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. And are you back to school yet? I'm trying to remember where you fell in the schedule.
Yeah, staff starts tomorrow and the kids start on Monday.
Okay. So you guys you're really late.
Yeah,
Yeah.
between Labor Day and the Jewish holidays coming late, they just pushed it
Ah.
until it was all over with.
That's probably better than bringing them in for a single day or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
I grew up and taught and raised my kids in New Hampshire, and the Jewish population there is so small. I didn't realize that, different parts of the country had all these holidays off. I knew about the holidays. I just didn't realize it was impactful to education until I, stepped outside of my own state to New York and the Mid-Atlantic region and realized, there are quite a few holidays in September and October that, keep school closed.
Yeah. We get a lot off. We get Chinese New Year off now. And we
Wow.
get Eid, which is a Muslim holiday.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Of course,
Pretty
everyone
nice.
thinks. Oh, go
We
ahead.
don't go for full weeks very often.
No. But then again, everyone else thinks it's weird that in the Northeast you have 2 breaks after Christmas. You have one in February for skiing or just because you're sick of the snow, and then you have another one at the end of April, and they're both full weeks.
Mhm.
So
One
which
was
is
for the
different.
flu originally. The February was for the flu.
You know what? Someone told me that once, and I didn't know if they were pulling my
Believe
leg.
me, old women know this stuff.
All
We have had our first 2 days. We did like a half day yesterday and a half day today, easing
Oh.
back in.
Okay, that's interesting. I guess I haven't heard of anybody else starting with half days.
We-
So
Yeah, they do
normally
that down here in
don't.
Newtown too. Yeah.
you normally don't, Vanessa. That's just this year getting back in on the.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It's a lot of adjustment for everybody.
It'll
Are
be
you
the first
seeing-
time
Mm.
it'll be the first time in a year and a half that I'll have taught a full, like actually had kids in my room from 7:30 until 2:30. So that'll be exhausting tomorrow.
Yeah, I think for everyone, the students too, probably,
Mhm.
right? Because they won't be used to it either.
Right.
All righty. Well, it's 5 past, so I'm going to get started and just let other people in as they sign on. So some of you know me better than others, so I'm just going to give you a quick introduction. I mean, you all know I'm Michelle, I think, but my my background here, I'm not a lifelong horse person. I'm a lifelong animal person. In fact, it dawned on me earlier this year. This is the first time in my life where we didn't have an animal in our house from like July of last year until this January. And now I have a fish, so I feel somewhat better. But I thought about it. I mean, when I was a baby, my parents always had dogs and cats, and I've always been around animals. I'm a nurturer. I love, if I'm out walking, the highlight is usually that I run into a dog on a leash. Very exciting. But horses were not part of my growing up. I have to confess, I have not read Black Beauty. I've taken 2 riding lessons in my entire life and had never been to a racetrack until one of my favorite stories about TK and I. We both had first marriages and had children in them, and we met 15 years ago. Around the time we were going to introduce our children to each other, he said, well, we should take them to a racetrack. And I thought, well, this is going to be the end of this relationship. And I told him in no uncertain terms that my children were not allowed to go to a racetrack. He could do whatever he wanted with his kids, but none of that. And he said, have you ever been to a racetrack? And I said, well, no, I live in New Hampshire. There, Rockingham was closed by the time I was old enough to go there. So we went down to Suffolk Downs for a weekend afternoon, and I discovered, oh, it isn't just a whole bunch of junkies gambling on horses. It actually is a great thing. And so, move forward many years, and he tells me he has this dream of building the stables. And I told him the only condition I had was I wanted it to be something we did together. And in order for it to be done together and us to be able to travel to auctions and races on a regular basis, I needed all the kids out of the nest, not fully, but they had to be off in college. I wasn't going to, be shuffling off while I had high school students possibly home alone. So the joke goes that my daughter Sam is graduating from high school, and TK, instead of paying attention to that, is on his phone trying to buy a horse. Sam knows she's really loved, but hurry up, honey. So anyway, and he did the bulk of the work with stables, and I, came into it trying to figure out what my role would be. And I started off just initially as the community evangelist. I did our social media work, did the fun things. And then the more that we did, I, really learned about this industry and was drawn to obviously the foals. I love that season, the foaling season, but also the aftercare piece. Very early on, we had a horse that we retired, or we thought we retired, and the person we gave the horse to ended up training the horse still. And that was a line in the sand for me. And I said, okay, every other horse we retire from now on, we're going to make sure the paperwork says this horse is retired or you can't have it. And I started to investigate, and I started doing interviews, which you'll find on our website. I started talking to the local aftercare groups in Maryland, Pennsylvania, and really thought, oh yes, this is the definitely money losing part of the business, but this is where my heart goes. I want to make sure our horses retire safely. And so, I started noodling on how we could do that. And TK also is a believer in retirement. We talked about how we could structure a program. And in July of 2019, we had an incident where our horse Detroit Cowboy went down in a race. He was fine, but the jockey was severely injured. And the club, members of the club, reached out wanting to donate money to help Felix. And that action of our group spurred me to think, well, wait a minute. And this was a jockey who'd only ridden for us once. If they are so charitable, or you are so charitable in this way, what can we do with aftercare? How can we make this happen? And so starting in September of 2019, when we had closeouts, is when I initiated the program of, if it's a positive return, would you leave $5 for aftercare? And if the horse, retires and truly retires, that money goes to the aftercare group that they're associated with. If the horse is actually claimed away, most often I donate it to the aftercare group that's nearest where the horse ran. But there are times where I've also held on to it for future rainy days. So, we've grown. We've also done other things in this area with trying to fundraise even more. Don Walsh in the spring of 2020 talked to me about wanting to do an aftercare, an auction that would give some money to aftercare. His thinking was everyone has lots of horse memorabilia that they'd like to shuffle around like a garage sale. And so it was a huge success. I really didn't know how well it would work. And I continued with it this year. It's probably the biggest fundraiser we have. We've raised about 2,000. Well, the first year was less, but this year was $2,000, which is pretty amazing. And that was divided among 3 groups who are over the moon happy. When I was in Minnesota and we saw this old horse, I mean, we sent them $600 with no horse tied to it. They, you know, and from a group like ours, right? They probably get bigger grants from bigger groups, but we're just, you know, a medium-sized syndicate sending money to them. So, you know, I've been doing all these things, and I started thinking about 6 months ago, how do I do more with this? I really like what I'm doing, but I want to turn this into a bigger something, more than just this odd little, you know, aftercare effort. And so I started talking to people. I started with Jen Royce at the Retired Racehorse Project. I'm very fortunate to call her a friend. And I reached out to her, and she thought this was, you know, I said, you know, I think I want to actually start a nonprofit. And she said, well, I think that's a great idea. And she said, but honestly, at the end of the day, I don't know if it's worth the work to go through a 501c3 compliance. And I said, okay. And she introduced me to Aaron Birkenhauer from West Point. So they have a 501c3 nonprofit. Honestly, the name of it escapes me right now. And with their money, you know, they obviously are built on a different system, but they raise money so that if a horse of theirs needs to be retired, they can offer to give it a safe landing. And so she tracks their horses, which led me to think about how could I track them. And so, you know, I took Jen's information, and for a month or two, I thought, okay, maybe I won't go this route. It sounds too much work. And then I thought, well, that's just stupid. There's no such thing as too much work. And so I started thinking about, you know, what I would want this thing to do, what I would want to call it, how would I build it. And so about 6 months ago, I got the URL, thehorsefund.org. And in April of this year, we became a accredited nonprofit in the state of Florida. And in July, I submitted my 501c3 paperwork, and I keep checking the IRS website. They've gotten through applications through May. So at this point, it seems like it'll probably be end of the year before we actually get our compliance, if they issue it. I really don't know why they wouldn't. I've looked at lots of other people's paperwork. And my hope is that we will be approved also, which then gives me 18 months that I can backtrack to give people charitable paperwork showing that you made donations. So my thinking in all this is multi. So I want, I wanted a way to distinguish the money from stables money. Not that we don't keep records of it, but I really wanted it to be in its own account, to be a true nonprofit that people are donating to. Additionally, my thinking is people are giving charitably, you should be able to get a credit for that when you're making these donations. And currently you can't. You're giving money to the stables or you're Venmoing it to me, and that doesn't help you financially. And so I, you know, and especially where we are getting, you know, bigger numbers, I just thought this might be a great way to fundraise even bigger to help with some of the goals I have. So one of the goals is a small goal, is that we have money in our fund large enough to support aftercare transition as needed. Because like, as we saw with Old Line Magic, among our club, she raised about $250, but it was $500 to retire her. So that typically comes out of TK in my pocket, which, you know, that's fine. But if we could do this as a club, I think with the 501c3 compliance, I might get more people who want to make a $25 donation instead of $5, because you're getting a tax write-off for it. I also want to continue to fund it so that it's large enough so that when I can track down one of our former horses that's running in a claiming race and it's been the bottom of the barrel for 3 months and the trainer seems to think that I might be able to buy that horse and say, you know, and I'd probably even try to talk to them, and, you know, if it's $5,000 claimer, to just call them and say, if I give you $2,000, can I get that horse on a van tomorrow and retire it? But that requires money. And my biggest goal, which is not in the near future, but hopefully there, would to actually have a property where we could retire our horses to. like a St. Omer's, where we could keep a paddock. You know, obviously we're not going to own an entire farm off a nonprofit, but you know, to have a paddock out there where we could have the ability to have 3 of our horses at a time. You know, hopefully we never have more than that many that are needing to be rehomed, where we could transition them, you know, and, you know, find them new homes, but know that, you know, we'd always have a place for our horses to land. And so I built the horse fund with this hope of really kind of stepping up our aftercare efforts. Technical things about it, there is a website. It became live last week. If you go to thehorsefund.org, it's live. I'm going to be posting our retired horse updates there. You can make donations directly on the website. You know, there's kind of information about what we're doing. I have a board. George Adams, who you all know, is on the board. He is the vice president. And then Jordan Egan, who you may or may not know, she's part of the Maryland Horse Breeders Association. She is the secretary of the board. And so it's the 3 of us right now. We meet quarterly because there's not really a lot happening yet, but you know, they're keeping an eye that I'm balancing the budget and making everything work. And currently the budget is, the expenses are really low. I am not and will not take a salary for running this. The only expense we've had is filing for our 501c3. But with this new program, I'm trying to think. Well, I'll stay with the horse fund. I'm going to, if you sign up on the website, I'm going to have a monthly newsletter that keeps people aware of how many donations we've raised. I'll share updates on our horses that have retired and what they're doing. I'm also setting a goal. Anyone who donates $100 in a calendar year, we're going to have a lapel pin with the horse fund logo on it. So, and you can do sign up for a monthly subscription where you make a donation, you know, kind of like the old Sally Struthers thing, you know, the price of a cup of coffee every month. You can help horses everywhere. And then I'm thinking about in the future, maybe there'll be some swag items that we can sell with our logo on them, but I got to start with a slightly bigger group before I get into all that. You know, one of the other charitable things that we did do, and I didn't know if anyone would ask about it, you know, last year we did the fundraising for the Backside Learning Center in conjunction with Jeff Musgrove. And honestly, Jeff did approach me this year and ask if we'd do it again. And to be 100% transparent, I told him no. And the reason is, I think with a club our size, we really have probably now need to pick one focus. And I really want our focus to be aftercare. So, I fully support people supporting other charities and I mean, they're a great thing, but I just figure I really want to see what we can make happen for our horses as they retire. And so the more money that we can send that way, the more good things we can do. Tied into that, as you saw, we created a new horse closeout program, and there was no option for donations. Because we are now putting aftercare into the initial purchase of a horse. TK and I both believe firmly that aftercare is critical to every horse. And so any horse up to $15,000 is going to have a $500 fee tagged onto its price, which is $5 a person who buys a percent. That money will be directly sent to the horse fund. Any horse over 15,000 is a flat $1,000 fee. We're not going to keep, you know, if we ever bought a $100,000 horse, it's not going to go up incrementally more, but it'll either be a $500 or $1,000 add on to the price that'll be sent to the horse fund to assure that our horses are getting the safe retirement they need. I've kind of jumped all over the place, but I am glad to take questions, talk more about this. I feel like I've been rambling here.
I have a question about, you're going to buy one of our former horses. If you talk to the people at the track when they fall down into the ranks, does that also mean you would claim him if they wouldn't sell them to you?
If we had the money and I felt it were the right thing to do, I would.
Okay, 5,000 would probably be a limit.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. I mean, I just, currently I think we have $1,200 on hand. You know, it's a long ways to getting to even be able to.
Yeah,
My hope is, is that common sense would tell someone, just let me take the horse for 2,000, but I understand too. It'll be one of those difficult calls.
yeah. Friends and I did it. We claimed a horse for 3,000 just to get her off the track.
Right. No, it's the right thing to do if you can afford to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
So Michelle, if you do that, where do you think that horse would go? Will it depend on the geographical area? So that you would then say it's Maryland horse, it might go to Bev Strauss,
Right, at Mid-Atlantic Horse
Mid-Atlantic.
Rescue.
right?
Yeah.
And if it's Pennsylvania, it might go to New Start or something like that.
Right. And this is not something I envision myself doing even in the next 6 months, just because monetarily, the fund is not ready to do that. But so I think I need to better organize, and I'll probably reach out to someone like Erin again and ask her how she implements things like these. And I understand she's dealing with a whole different category of horse because, it's West Point. So they're not, I mean, we run at $5,000 claimers. So when, you're taking a horse that was running in a stakes race and coming back to them, but definitely something that I'd like to do as needed, just need to formulate more details for it.
I have a quick
So-
question.
Tell you what, Amy, if you hold on a minute, Diane, why don't you finish up? It sounded like you had a follow-up.
I just wanted to know if we were going to see you at the Retired Racehorse Project in October.
I am not sure if I'll be able to be at the Retired Racehorse Project. I want to, but I might have a conflict, so I have not scheduled travel there yet. But you'll
Okay.
be there?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Is anybody else on the call going to? I know a lot of you are not on screen, but I'm taking that Diane's the only one.
No.
Okay, go ahead, Amy.
I was just wondering, when you do retire the horses, if you had a place to put them, a farm or whatever, for ones that would be able to do so, that would be fit for a second career, would you have volunteers there or someone on staff who would restart the horses and put them out into an adoptive home later? Or are we talking like permanent retirement?
Oh, no. Yeah, I don't want to just have a sanctuary for sure. Yeah, no. My goal would be, and I've even had discussions with Nicole at St. Omer's. If there were more space, she would be very glad to help us transition our horses, and she's a good horsewoman. It's more about, at this point, a matter of space there, and I think probably also her time, where she has so many brood mares and babies. But definitely I would, and again, I am not a horse person, so it would never be me doing the transition, but I would definitely want someone. And on the flip side too, that, maybe there's even a chance of, once they're rehabilitated, you could bring in $1,000 to replenish the fund a little bit after all the effort you've put in.
Right.
But that's
There
my
should be a
big dream.
donation. If someone adopts, there should be a donation.
Yeah.
Yes, $5,000 donation.
Well, Michelle, I think this is all great. What can we do to kind of support you in the kickoff of all of this? What can those of us on here, and obviously you'll probably be making announcements on Slack soon. What can we
Yes.
do to support?
So definitely go to the website, sign up for the newsletter. Currently, my goal is to take care of stables horses, but I'm also hoping that there are people who maybe don't even own horses, but have a giving nature that want to be involved with something like this. Now that I've done this launch here, because I was kind of keeping everything stealth, I'll be on Twitter with the Horse Fund, trying to promote it that way. Definitely anyone who's interested, there will be links on the stables website letting people know that this is our new aftercare initiative. So, and it is standalone, but also very much tied to the stables. And it's something I have thought about too, is if another stable became interested, I would gladly work with them to have the horse fund support their mission as well. So if you just want to, promote us a little bit, that is great.
So is Twitter going to be kind of your main social media platform? Are you doing Instagram, Facebook, those things too?
I'm not 100% sure. I suppose on some level I have to do Facebook because that does seem to be where most of Stables traffic comes from. And Instagram, I'm a little more hesitant just because I don't have a ton of photos, and I love all the people I deal with our retirees, but sometimes it's hard getting photos from them, that's why I do updates probably a couple times a month with retirees. And then the other, because Tuesdays I tend to do off the track thoroughbreds for our social media, but several Tuesdays end up being like promoting a horse that's up for adoption at Mid-Atlantic or new locations, just because, I understand people are busy and don't want to be sending me photos every month of their horse.
Right.
So.
Okay, great.
Anything else? I can give you a quick peek if you'd like, for those of you who have not gone there. Why is it not showing? Of course,
Where are you, Jenny Brown?
I'm in Sanibel right now, down in Florida. My kids are over here in the pool. I don't know if I can flip it. They're over there on the other side of the
Fabulous.
palm trees. They're over there. It's nice
Wow.
and quiet. So yeah, I'm over here in the peace and quiet.
That's
It kind of
nice.
looks like it might rain on me. I need to check the radar. I think there might be a storm forming somewhere around me. A storm in paradise.
That's a nice place.
Unfortunately, my computer is not working with me at the moment to screen share, so I guess I will hold off. I'll just advise you to go to, oh wait, there it is, yay, it's working now, hold on. So now you can see this is the horse fund.
Oh, who is this? Is this the Not for Love, whatever?
Okay, don't quiz me on horses, Mary, I'm not that good.
No, this one that looked awful before and now looks great.
Oh, no, these are all retired horses on my website.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, they're all retirees on here.
All right.
So, yes. So if you go to the website, this right
Mhm.
here, most important thing, sign up for the newsletter. Beginning of October, the first newsletter will come out,
Okay.
and that's her last update. I haven't put the newest one there. I wanted to share.
Is that
it
a picture
sooner.
of Lauren on there? Was that Lauren Floyd?
No, that is Alyssa, who does look shockingly like.
It did. I can't see. I'm
yeah.
on my phone, so it's tiny, but I thought it was
Yeah.
Lauren at first.
No, Alyssa's early 20s, I'm guessing, student / and she'll be at the Retired Racehorse Project, Diane. So that's Peyton. And then Intrepid Forest will also be there with her owner. So, and I'll let you guys jump around the website on your own. Any questions for me? I feel like I'm rambling and taking up your time at this point.
Yeah, there's no cake either.
No, there is no cake. I haven't even had dinner.
Oh. Oh, there's a cat. That's Vanessa's cat.
Yes, they know when the
Oh.
meetings are happening and they come.
They're like, wait, there are animals. Our turn to be on screen. Well,
Right.
if no one has any other questions, I really don't want to take up your evening, and I thank you all for joining me tonight.
I just
Awesome.
had one more question. If you're doing a donation uncaffeinated for aftercare, I mean, I know she's claimed, but
I'm not, because she was negative. So with the
okay.
with the model we're working our way out of is when they're negative, I never ask for money because you're not getting money back.
Yeah, okay.
So, but I appreciate that. But if you go to the website and want to make a donation, the Horse Fund is now taking donations. It's via PayPal. You can do one-time or monthly subscription model. So that is up and working.
Good.
Great,
Good.
thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I think we need more auctions.
Well, actually, we are going to have 2 major events next year, one in the spring, one in the fall. Both will be fundraisers. One's an auction. The other one is to be determined, but it's going to be tied around Shamrock Kid Day. I'm going to make that into an annual event for us. So,
Oh,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, it just seemed to really you know, that was such a great event. Well, him passing was not great. Let me clarify that. But the generosity of our club just really overwhelmed me. And so I think we're going to make this an annual thing tied into St. Patrick's Day. I haven't quite figured, but that will be more of a less of an auction, more of a fundraiser, you know, figure out how to do it and raise a lot of money for a good cause. And then we'll move the auction to the fall. So
Good.
I love that.
It sounds wonderful, Michelle. Thank you for
Oh,
taking
you're
care
welcome.
of the
Thank you.
babies and the old
Big
men,
stuff.
and girls and everything else. Really.
Well, it truly is my pleasure. Like I said, I've been a lifelong animal lover. And so knowing that our horses are going to go to safe homes just makes me feel a lot better about the world in general.
Good.
I love it.
Good.
So, well, Chris Alvey is joining, but unbeknownst to Chris, we are about to sign off. And he's still connecting to audio, so we didn't hear that.
Yeah. Why aren't these other folks showing up in video?
Because they've turned their cameras off. You can do that too if you wanted. There you go. Fun fact.
Actually, this is what I saw most of the school year,
Are you serious? Did you do virtual?
part of the year. Or the ceiling fan. I got a lot of good views of ceiling fans.
Oh, how funny. My kids did it, but they were required to show their faces. They weren't allowed to turn off camera. Like they needed to know that they were sitting there.
We were not allowed to require them to have cameras on, so.
Clarence, where are
Needless to
you?
say,
Oh,
where am I?
No, Clarence, he can't
Okay.
answer. Where are you? You gotta-
He's muted.
Unmute him.
I'm
Where
in,
are
I'm
you?
in York, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay, okay. So you go to what, Penn National, or is it?
No, I usually travel to the Maryland tracks. I just came back from Saratoga last week. I was up for the Travers.
Ah,
Nice.
But Pimlico is my first love. I know people don't like Pimlico, but I've always loved Pimlico. Back since I seen Spectacular Bid run there.
fabulous.
So I love Pimlico.
Wow.
I make it to Laurel for a couple times a year. I
Yeah.
haven't been to Penn National. I used to go to Penn National when I was younger, but I haven't been up there in a while. It's just a nightmare going up that way. If anybody's familiar with the Harrisburg area, that 83 is a nightmare.
Yeah, I've been through, yeah. Neat, very neat.
Chris, I was just telling the group right before you signed on, I think we are about done, unfortunately. So unless anybody has any last minute questions,
No,
I think I'm going to sign off.
I think it's great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Michelle.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, bye-bye.